Hey everybody, it's Brandon L. Smith, and I am joined here with the very phenomenal, the one and only Miss Katrina Staggers. How are you?
I'm wonderful, wonderful.
That's good. So how does it feel to be here at the MIXX Network for Issues from the Heart?
It is very, very exciting. This is my very, very first time being on any platform, so
Really?
I'm very excited about it.
We're gonna have fun tonight. Okay, so we're gonna make it real comfortable for you.
Good.
I got your book, so we are definitely going to chop it up about this. Okay.
Okay.
First of all, let me say I read the book, right? From the beginning to the end.
Okay.
And I absolutely love the story, okay? But
Thank
for the people who have not read the book yet, can you give them a little detail on what the book is about?
Okay, so the book is about it. Well, I'll just say first of all, it started as a diary.
Okay.
When I was a little girl, about some things that happened to me in my childhood, and so this book was first published in 2005.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I decided to go ahead and publish it because it was my way of releasing a testimony of trauma, of things that had happened to me when I was a kid or when I was a child, and I just needed to get it out. So the book is about sisters who were molested at the hands of the man they call pastor.
Wow.
This book is my story. My sisters have their own story. But this book is my story of that journey from beginning to end, really.
So you said this is a diary from years,
Mm-hmm.
years ago. What made you, come to the point to where you say, you know what, I want to release this and put this story out?
You know, um, I think after I had gone through a lot and I thought I had lived, well, not really lived past it, I figured, as I get older, I can forget about it. It'll be fine. But then it came up again, even in my adult age, even in me trying to escape it. And once it came up again, I knew at that point I was never going to be rid of it. So I felt like, um, unless I can, it's almost like confession. You have to actually speak it to release it.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like I needed somebody to hear me.
Okay.
I felt like if somebody could hear me, then I could be free. Not completely, but at least that would be the beginning of me being free and coming out.
Okay. So now let's jump back. You say you released the first book in 2015, right?
2005.
2005. You released the book then,
Yes.
Of diaries, right?
Yes.
Did you feel a burden lifted during that time?
I did. I felt like okay, my story is out now. People know.
Mm-hmm.
However, I wasn't completely free because I was too afraid to tell people that the book was published.
Mm-hmm.
I was too afraid to tell people the story. Even though the story was out, it wasn't really out.
Okay.
So there was still that period of feeling still isolated, still just in a place of darkness.
Mm-hmm.
The thought of it being published did help,
Mm-hmm.
but I still was kind of locked into that depression, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So 20 years later,
20
we
years
have interrupted prayers,
Yeah.
right? And it says, when faith meets silence and truth breaks chains. How did you feel at this present time having the physical book, now in your hand, to now the whole world knows about interrupted prayers?
It feels so much better. I felt better along the journey before publishing the book because I had so many people in my corner who supported me, who rooted for me, who pushed me, encouraged me, and to the point where I was ready to not only release it again, but to push it so that people could hear my voice and that people could hear my heart and the things that I had to go through. And in doing that, it changed something in me.
Wow.
It not only in me, but it changed things for others as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I'm ready to jump in this book now. Okay. I'm ready to jump in, okay? So in the beginning you said that it's a story about your siblings who were mishandled, molested from the hands of the pastor, right?
Yes.
Take me to, let's dig into like when you first met this pastor.
I was a child, so this pastor was around um, in our lives as a child. You know, he was the pastor of the church that we went to.
Okay.
So as far as I can remember as a kid, he has always been my pastor. Um, I don't recall things happening until I was around the age 6, 7, and it's a lot of things, you know. As we get older, we forget. But with me, I just feel like I sit sometimes just wondering when I was this age, what was going on in my life, and I try to sit and really think about like what was my past. So as far as I can remember, when it comes to little details of things that had happened to me or had started happening that I didn't really recognize or as wrong and things like that, is when I was probably about 6, 7 years old.
Okay.
That now when I think about it, I'm like, wow, that's what that was. Those conversations, that's what that meant.
Wow.
Or that touch, that's what that was. That wasn't supposed to, you know, so all of these things. And so that kind of started at that point, and it just progressed and progressed. But he'd been in our lives pretty much all of our lives as children.
So when you all joined the church and you met the pastor, like was he, you know, how was like the first impression? Like was he like, you know, Uncle Pastor, or was he like, you know, a family friend, or what was the relationship like?
The whole church was like connected quickly. Like it was a family oriented church. So everybody became family.
Okay.
You know, we started off as new members, but we quickly became family. You know, all of us. So it was just that type of setting.
Okay.
In the church. So it wasn't. It was normal for him to say, "Hey, why don't you guys come on over to my place? I'm gonna cook dinner." Or, "Hey, you cooking dinner? You cooking Sunday dinner? Why don't I join you guys?"
Okay.
You know, so it was comfortable. He talked with us. He encouraged us. He was a great pastor. He was a great preacher, I should say. As far as knowing the Word of God and knowing how to pour it out into people, he encouraged us. He supported us, gave us allowance.
Wow.
You know, because my father wasn't in the picture at this time either.
So he stood in the gap to be like a father figure. He
stood in the gap, and that's what kind of built that relationship, I think. Not only with us as children, but it built that safety from my mom, because she knew, okay, my children are not only being covered and fed the Word of God, they're also being covered and protected, you know, in the absence of Dad. Okay. So he was a big support for us.
So when did when did he started getting like real comfortable with you all, to where, you know, you remember things like molestation started happening?
For me, because I can't tell their stories, of course, but for me, I remember the very first inappropriate conversation or meeting is when we were at church. We were at church one Wednesday night, and he called me to his office, and that wasn't unusual. You know, we had little roles that we were assigned. You're going to be an usher, and I want to make sure that you're trained to do what you're supposed to do, hospitality, different things like that. So it wasn't unusual. So he called me to his office, and he said, "I want to talk to you." So in talking to me, it quickly went from a normal conversation of teaching to something different. And it wasn't any touching or anything that progressed at that time, but the conversation had changed. So it was almost like prep work. So it was
trying to see what his boundary was at.
Yeah. Okay. And to see where I was and how I felt, how I was going to respond, because I believe that my response is what led him to keep going and know how far he could get with me, without me feeling this is something she needs to tell someone.
Mm-hmm.
And he built on that until he built a trust and a fear at the same time.
Wow.
So the conversation was different. It was to the point, do you stand in the mirror and look at yourself? Different things like that. And then it continued to progress. Do you have a boyfriend? Do you let him kiss you? Do you let him different? The conversation just progressed.
And of course, she was trusting him because this is your pastor.
Yes. Wow. And the whole time in that conversation, he was also saying things like, now, and this was always said at the beginning, when we have these conversations, it's between me, you, and God. Wow. If you tell, God is going to be very upset with you. And, we don't want God upset with us, right? So those were, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And so this went on for how long?
Years. This went on until I was 18, I think.
Okay.
And of course, through high school, I met my first husband in high school while I was in high school. And just didn't looking for the boy or anything at that time.
Should have been doing your schoolwork.
Should have been doing my schoolwork. But I was in high school and I met someone that was different. He didn't talk like that.
Okay.
And it made me feel comfortable. And it was gentle, the conversation was different. And it just didn't seem the same. So, I fell for this boy. And after a while, we ended up married, having kids together. But that didn't stop still. It didn't stop anything. And I was still holding on to that. Wow. And it was still happening.
Now let's go back, before we go further, let's go back to, so you get called in the office and it's kind of like you said, prep work, right? When did the first touch start happening?
It was probably at maybe 6, 7.
Wow.
That's when it first happened. And it was also in the office. And it was physical as far as him touching areas that he shouldn't have touched. And different things like that. And I do remember the very first time I cried because I didn't understand.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So for people watching, because they probably have the same kind of question, because I had the question too when I was reading the book. Why didn't you say anything at that young age?
Because I was afraid. Because this was a man of God, and he was led by God and instructed by God to do God's will. And he had a special relationship with God that I didn't have. And so I believed and trusted that what he was doing was appropriate as far as the will of God. I'm not thinking it that deep at the time, but it's appropriate because he said that it's okay as long as nobody knows. And it's, I don't know, he made it feel like it was a normal thing.
Wow.
Like there was nothing wrong with it. So, of course in school you hear, the teachers at that time, we did have home ec. I don't think it exists in school anymore. But we did have home ec. And once I would hear different things about families and babies and mom and dad, husband and wife, different things like that. And I would start to wonder at that time what it meant. If that's supposed to happen between mom and dad and husband and wife, then what does it mean if it happens to me so young?
Wow.
But still, that didn't make me come out and say anything. Did I want to? I did. I actually wanted to talk to my sisters. I probably would never have talked to my mom. I never thought about it. But I did want to talk to my sisters sometimes because I felt like they were going through it too.
Okay.
And I felt like maybe they could tell me what to do or how should I feel or what, how are they doing it?
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know, but yeah, in his office
Wow.
was the first inappropriate touch.
So did that change like your behavior, like, or did it make you go out and seek attention from men, or did
Mm-mm.
it like did you kind of like have moments where you kind of like lash out, like what was your
As far
behavior
as I
like?
can remember as a kid, I was never in trouble. I was a good kid. I was quiet. I was always very preserved
Mm-hmm.
or reserved. Um, I didn't make friends. And I was very quiet all the time. And of course, since I was quiet, I was bullied just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I was always quiet. I didn't really want to be around people.
Yeah.
I felt fine with
Is that
myself.
because of what was going on, or just that was just your whole demeanor?
I'm not, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. It could possibly have been because of what was going on.
Okay.
But I really don't know. I just know that I like being to myself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, as I was getting in the book more, I started reading the chapter where your sister calls you,
Mm-hmm.
and she says, it's happened again.
Mm-hmm.
Take me to that moment to when you found out that your sisters were also being touched inappropriately.
I think I knew. I think we all knew as teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
We knew. We looked at each other and our eyes.
So take your time.
We knew.
Mm-hmm. So in the process of you all knowing, because siblings have that connection,
Yeah.
and you have that connection so strong with your siblings, you don't have to say anything. You just look at them.
Yeah.
And that's a conversation right there.
Yeah. And that's what it was. That's exactly what it was. We
Wow.
look at each other and we just knew, but we never said anything
Mm-hmm.
to each other.
So you all found out that, the same thing was happening with among the girls, right?
Yes.
Now take me to that day when you all had to have this conversation with mom.
So that as you was referencing, my baby sister, when she called me, that's when something broke in me because, as I was saying, what I was trying to outrun caught up.
Caught it with you.
I was in a whole other state. I moved to another state
Mm-hmm.
because I felt like I needed to get away from everything. And it found me. She called, and it was the worst call ever.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew at that point, this is never going to be over. We have to talk to my mom,
Mm-hmm.
and we have to tell her.
Mm-hmm. And what was her reaction when you all told her?
She was so broken. She was so broken.
Mm-hmm.
When I think about the response she had, and I had an opportunity to do it again and tell her again,
Mm-hmm.
I probably wouldn't.
You wouldn't tell her?
I wouldn't have done it.
Wow. Because you didn't want to see her heartbroken?
Yeah. It was hard to see her like that.
Mm-hmm.
It was really hard.
Wow.
And it took her a while. It took her a while to bounce back after that conversation. I did feel better after it was all out.
Mm-hmm.
And my sisters, everybody came because I was living in Georgia at the
Mm-hmm.
time. And my mom had actually moved to Georgia at the time. And they were all still a part of the ministry.
Wow.
His ministry. And he was thinking about, I think, from my understanding, from what I know, he was thinking about building a church or starting a church out in Georgia as well.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that my mom was there was a good thing. But when we told her, it It shattered her.
Did she kind of feel like it was her fault a little bit,
She
or she
did.
did?
She couldn't understand how she could not see it and not understand something was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But we are a happy family.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, my mom called our house the happy house.
Right.
So
Wow.
it's like if you had a bad attitude, you couldn't come in.
Yeah.
Like
Wow.
you come home from school, you have a bad attitude, she'll make you go back out the door and come back in
Yeah. Wow.
again. If your friends show up to visit you and they got a bad attitude, they got to go back outside and come back in.
Wow.
So we would warn people ahead of time. If
Mm-hmm.
you come, you got to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
So we were a happy house. Mama had so much love, or has so much love, and the love that she has, she wants people to have.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were the happy house. So it telling her, it's almost like it broke that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Did you feel a
Broke
lot
it.
lighter when you
I
all had the
did.
conversation with her?
I did. I think we all did.
Mm-hmm.
A lot lighter. It's almost like we could breathe.
Wow. Wow.
We didn't have to watch what we said,
Mm-hmm.
or we could breathe because the truth was out now.
Mm-hmm.
So then it's like, okay, so now what?
Mm-hmm. Have you all confronted him or had a
Well,
conversation with him?
the hope was to, for me, well, my mom did.
Okay.
She confronted him. She left Georgia, came all the way back here to confront him.
Wow.
And I wasn't present when she did, but whatever she did, it made him shut his entire church down.
As he should.
Yeah. He shut the church down and he left town.
Wow.
He left the state.
Wow.
And
Wow.
he didn't return.
And it's how many siblings do you have that he did that to?
It's 5 of us girls.
Wow.
Yep.
And do you know if there are any other like young women that were going through the same thing?
I don't know, but I think so.
Okay.
I do.
Wow.
I think so.
Wow.
I do. And she confronted him, he left, and different things like that. But in my mind, I'm like, well, we need to press charges.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, no, I don't want to press charges. And I'm like, we need to. And this is just me battling within myself, because it's like I need him to feel responsible. He needs to feel some of the pain that he caused. Mm-hmm. He doesn't need to get away with this. Mm-hmm. Something needs to happen to him. Mm-hmm. But we never did do anything as far as pressing charges. However, I think it was a year or two later, maybe, we found out that he had prostate cancer, and he ended up passing away.
Mm. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Does that make you feel relieved, or?
It does. Of course, the heart that I have, I'm built so different. I'm telling you. Because my worst enemy, I don't wish bad on. I like someone could slap me in my face, and tomorrow I give them my code if they're cold. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I don't know how not to do that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's I don't know how not to. Yeah. So it's hard for me to hold a grudge against people. I won't say that when I found out that he was gone that I didn't smile. I might have smiled a little bit. Right. Because I felt like, well, now he's going to get what he deserved. Mm-hmm. God is going to be judged now. Wow. Of everything that he's done.
Now, being that he was a pastor and he's getting up on Sunday mornings and he's preaching to the flock, and knowing all of this now, when it came out about your siblings and all of that other stuff, did you have any kind of like hurt or hate for the church?
I did, kind of. It wasn't really hate. There was a mistrust. Okay. So I did not want to sit up under a male pastor anymore. Mm-hmm. As a matter
of fact, they were doing the same thing, or fear that
I just didn't trust anybody. Okay. And I was at this level before we even confronted him. When I moved to Georgia, I was at the point where I was not gonna. As a matter of fact, at first I said I'm not going back to church. I'm not going. I'm not gonna go. I'm good. I'm not going.
Mm.
And then I said, well, if I, because my sister would talk me into going to the oldest, and so I would go with her, and I liked the church, but I would not join because it was a male pastor.
Mm.
I said I'll go and I'll visit, but I'm not joining.
Right.
I'm not joining anybody's church if it's a male pastor. You know, we were born and raised with the word.
Mhm.
Mom poured the word in us all the time, so I couldn't stay away from it.
Mm-hmm.
It's contagious, so I couldn't stay away from it.
Right. So how did you end up getting over that church hurt? For people who's looking right now and they may have been going through the same thing, like what things did you do to get over that?
It took much prayer.
Mhm.
Much prayer. The story was out, but I was still broken. I was still at a place of darkness still. But I had to pray, like really seriously pray and ask God to deliver me and to ask him to fix my heart. And I think in doing that gradually, because it did not happen overnight, but in consistently trusting God to fix my heart, and then also having people in my circle that cared for me, that loved on me, that never stopped praying for me. My mom never stopped praying. We didn't even live in the same state, but she never stopped praying, and always poured into me to the point where I just simply released it. I released it, and I told God, you know, if you order my steps, I'll go.
Wow. And you've been in church ever since?
Yeah, I've been
Wow.
ever since.
That's
Making
awesome.
a lot of noise.
That's awesome. Now, in the book you talk about you are a mother, and you mentioned earlier about you were married. The things that you went through with the pastor, like how did that affect you as an adult, as you being a mother and a wife? How did that affect you?
I always looked for protection. I always looked for somebody to protect me. So when I encountered someone who I felt like, oh, this is a protector, this is the person that's going to protect me. And then also, if I had someone coming in saying different things to me that I'd never experienced before, like, I'm going to care for you and I love you, and, you know, different things like that, you know, I was sold because I felt like this person really does love me, and this person is really going to protect me. But you know, as of course, as I grew, even as an adult, so much more learning I still had to do.
Wow.
I understood what having a true husband was.
Okay. Wow.
I knew what that meant. I understood what the head of a household meant and his role. And it took me some time to get there, but I made it.
But you got it.
I got it.
That's awesome.
I got it.
Now, did that affect you from being like your parenting skills? Because, you know, I can just imagine dealing with that, and then now you have children, you don't want to let them really go anywhere or be around males because you know you're afraid that will happen. Did you have to go through all of that too?
I did.
Really?
I did. They couldn't go anywhere. Anywhere. The stay the night thing, yeah, we don't talk about that.
Really?
Yeah, we didn't do that. So we didn't do the stay the night thing because I didn't trust, especially you're going to somebody's house. There might be somebody's dad in there, and we just don't know people.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I didn't let my kids stay the night. I didn't let them go off with people to events and activities when they were young, unless it was us going. Because I just felt like I needed to protect them. I needed to watch over and protect them. And if they were out of my sight, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
And who's whispering and talking to them.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I talked to them all the time. I didn't tell them my story, but I talked to them all the time. I asked questions because I wanted to know, what are you thinking? What's happening in school? Who are your friends? Is anybody picking on you? You know, I want to know what's happening. Talk to me. I wanted to always leave an open space for them to communicate with me.
Mm-hmm. So you say you didn't tell them your story. Now, when you came out and said, "Hey, I wanna write this book," right? Mm-hmm. So now you have your children, you have your mom who you had to tell this to, you have mm-hmm. your siblings who you told that to, and in the Black community we say whatever happens in this house, stay in this house. So now that you're deciding to put this, your pen to paper mm-hmm. and say, "I want to write a book about that," how is that? Like, did the family say no, hush about it, and did they outvote you, or how did that go?
They did not, but I could tell that it was uncomfortable.
Okay.
For some of them. And so I actually could have published it sooner, but I held on to it because I didn't want them to be uncomfortable.
Okay.
Because I know, in this story, it's also their story. Mm-hmm. Even if they're not telling it in detail like I did, it still houses their story too.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to make them feel uncomfortable. Okay. So I held on to it for a long time before I published it. I did talk it up. Mm-hmm. I got this book done. I'm going to publish it soon. Just so they could get used to the idea.
Okay.
And my mom, before I published it, I gave her a copy of the draft. And she started reading it, but she couldn't read it.
Finish it. Oh, mm-hmm. Wow.
Wow. She couldn't finish it.
But they all gave you their blessing.
They did.
Now, what did your children think when after you went through all of this, and now you're being a mom, you've been a wife, you've been their protector? Like, what did they think about all of that?
They think that I'm the strongest woman in the world. Mm. They really do. They just think I'm just my mama, right. My mama this, my mama that. So they just think I'm the strongest person, and they're so supportive. And of course, they get angry at hearing the story. Mm-hmm. But they're happy that I was able to share it, and they're proud of me for publishing the book.
How did you end up sharing the story with them? Did you sit them down, or was it like a family hearsay?
They had to read it.
Wow. Are you serious?
They had to read it. I don't, because I can barely read it again myself. Yeah. So sitting down with my kids and telling them the details of it, I've never done that.
So you published a book, and then you had them to read it. Yeah. And that's how they found out your story.
Yes.
That's crazy.
I mean, we talked about little things, but nothing in depth as far as what the story entails.
And what was their reaction when they read it?
It's almost like a pause and the shaking of the head, like
Wow.
And I can hear one of my daughters, "Mama, you strong." "Mama, you strong." Wow. So yeah.
Wow. So for anyone who is going through molestation right now, right, mm-hmm. Male or female, to say, "Hey, I'm in this. I don't know how to tell my parents about it. I don't know how to come out and tell, the people who's close to me about this." What would be your message to them?
I would say to them, don't hold it. I know it's hard. And I know it's a battle in the mind. It's a battle in the heart. But it only wears at the heart. Mm. The longer you hold it, it wears. Don't hold it in. Find somebody you trust and share.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
But it has to be somebody you trust. Mm. And if that somebody is not your sibling, if it's not your parents, pray and ask God to show you who you can trust, that you can get this out. Even if you just need to get it out, just get it out. Mm-hmm. Because holding it in, it tears away at the heart. Because I can remember sitting in my bedroom, and I'm bright. I love light. Mm-hmm. I would sit in there in the dark. Mm. Hours passed by, and I didn't even realize what time it is. Just in my own head, in my own thoughts. Anything could have happened to me as far as my mind and where my thoughts could have taken me. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But that is just, it's like residue of just holding on to these memories that needed to be released so that I could breathe. I felt suffocated. I felt closed in. It almost feels like being in a coffin. I don't know what being in a coffin feels like, but I can imagine. Because I'm claustrophobic.
Right.
So if being in this huge room still makes you feel claustrophobic just because of what you're carrying, then that is a coffin.
Wow.
And you can die in it.
Mm.
So just release it.
So it's very important to release it.
Yeah, it is.
Wow.
It is.
Wow. Now, let's just say if you was to run into this pastor, we know that, you know, he had passed away. If you ran into him at the grocery store, like what would have been that conversation you would have had with him?
Now? I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know.
Wow.
Because I can sit here and say, I'd say, I forgive you. I've moved on. I'm doing well. But I honestly don't know.
Did you forgive him?
I did. I had to.
Okay.
It took a while, but I did.
And what was the steps of that forgiveness for him?
I had to speak it out loud over and over before I even made myself believe it.
Wow.
Because I forgave, or I said I forgave him several times, but then I would think of things and get angry all over again. But I know that I really forgave him when I could hear his name and it meant nothing anymore.
And people don't know, you know, that for real, but when someone's name is mentioned and you can feel that heat take over your body, you have not forgiven that person.
You've not forgiven them.
You need to deal with that situation.
Yeah.
So that is really true. It's really true. Wow.
Yeah. And I'm a happy person. I don't want to be a bitter, mean, angry person. And I know that could have pushed me there. It could have either pushed me to that place or it could have pushed me to the place of depression to where I would have possibly lost everything, relationships, connections, resources, necessities. I could have lost everything just out of being depressed and closed in into my own mind.
Wow.
Or it could have had me angry and lashing out at everybody for no reason and just bitter. And I'm just thankful that God covered me and He protected my heart enough to recover.
So years later, who is Katrina Staggers now?
I am
You smiling real hard, I can say that.
I am a successful Black woman, a mother, a grandmother. I have an education, I have a great job, and I just actually started my own nonprofit organization to support women who have gone through this. It's called Her Story.
Wow. Congratulations.
And it will support women who have gone through this or who is going through this and don't know how to come out. And that is my goal, is to help women where I've been and to let them know, you know what, there is hope. We can live again. And the strength that we need actually already exists inside of us. We just have to tap into it.
Tap into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. So what are the future plans for you? Like, any more books coming up? Any more, you know?
Yes, I have 2 more that I'm working on now. They are stories. They're not, like, this was a true story. But they're not true stories, but they one of them ties into what this book is about as well, but another one is inspirational. So I'm excited. Hopefully in 26, maybe we can get those pushed out.
Okay. Awesome.
As well. And then also to get the nonprofit moving and to support these women out here that need us.
So for people that have dealt with molestation and they say, you know what, I think that's the end for me, I cannot come back from this, what are those encouraging words that you would give them?
I would tell them, you have strength. It is in you. We were built to survive. We are strong and we are courageous. And everything that we need, we already possess. So we can overcome the worst of anything that life throws to us. We can overcome, and you can overcome. That is what I would say to any woman who has been or is going through any type of abuse. You don't have to stay there. You don't.
Awesome. So for people who want to know more about you and invite you to come to their, their events and things, to do speaking engagements, to bring her story to them, how can they get in contact with you?
So you can get in touch with me. I do have a website. It's www.herstorythegathering.com. So you can book me there. You can register to be on the podcast as well. I would say you can call and email me. You can do that too, but let's do it through the website. But yes, definitely through the website and through social media as well. I'm available. I want to be a blessing. I want to be a support for people who have dealt with this. Awesome. People still struggling.
Awesome. So before we wrap this up, like, what are your duties now in the church?
I'm an evangelist.
Okay.
In the church. I'm also over the administrative team. I support an outreach, which I absolutely love. Support with the youth department. So I do a lot. My hands are in a lot, but I love it. I love everything I do. I love people.
I love how this story did not stop, what you have going on right now. Yeah. And even though, you had to deal with a lot of baggage, and you had to release it in order to get started to the new year. I'm just grateful that you allow God just to continue to order your steps like that, because a lot of people die in that.
They do.
You could have been strung out and everything else, but for you to have that willpower to get up and say, hey, I want better for myself. Yeah. I think that's amazing. So kudos to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, I think that's wrapping up. So this is Brandon L. Smith, and we are here with Katrina Staggers, and she is the author of this great book, Interrupted Prayers. So please make sure if they want to grab a copy, where would they grab a copy from?
You can also grab a copy on the website, or you can go to Amazon.com. They sell the hard copies and Kindle if you like digital read.
Okay. So, yeah. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in to Issues from the Heart.